Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Footy show. We look back, we look forward at all the big news in the football world. And it's been FA Cup over the last weekend. A little bit of Premier League as well, but the FA Cup has dominated. But as we now know, the four semi-finalists, unfortunately, Everton aren't one of those teams, as we suspected that was going to be the case, didn't we? We expected that was going to be the case. Chelsea through, beating Sheffield United. They put up a bit of a fight, Sheffield United, to be honest, at 1-0. They had a couple of chances, but ultimately it wasn't to be.
A clean sheet for Tuchel at home.
I know, it's incredible, isn't it? What an incredible start he's had. On the back of getting through the Champions League as well, beating Atletico Madrid.
That was a big one as
well.
Another clean sheet.
So,
no, it was a good win for them. Obviously, Sheffield United are struggling, but sometimes in the Cup,
it's a break.
It's just a break and an opportunity. And they were doing okay. 11-0 with own goal, wasn't after about 25 minutes. And then, like you say, they hung in there, and they may have got themselves into extra time with it. An equaliser and anything can happen. But Chelsea have always got that little bit of class, and then obviously Ziyech in injury time. So they're up and put them through into these semi-finals. So again, just maintaining Tuchel's great start.
Yeah.
At the bridge.
Southampton beat Bournemouth 3-0 with a win. A good win, gets them into the semi-finals. Got something at least that could, something that saves this season, because it's fallen off massively, hasn't it, in the last few weeks.
Nathan Redmond sounded like peak Redmond, didn't he? Rowley,
I don't know what a peak Redmond is.
Well, he was good. He was like one of those players that there was loads of high hopes for.
Yeah,
and he was going to play for England and do this. And then he's been a good player, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he ever got to where people predicted he may do. But he was excellent in that game against Bournemouth. And like you say, Southampton, the mid-table, so there's no threat of relegation or nothing like that. They were top of Christmas, but injuries and everything else, squads like Southampton we've had the same, haven't we? You get 3, 4, 5 injuries, you just can't go with it, and they fell off a bit of a cliff, but they'll be happy where they are, I guess, and being in the FA Cup gives them an opportunity, and they've got,
They'll play Leicester in the semi-finals, who dispatched Manchester United. Done a really good job on them. 3-1 win at home. I know Manchester United had played in the San Siro only 3 days before, and obviously won that game into the next round of the Europa League. But Leicester again. They don't. They play their own game. They take teams on. They're not waiting to. We always talk about Everton and the style we've got when we're playing these teams. Leicester don't wait for anyone. They've got their own style, and they attack teams. And it was clear in this game, always trying to press high in the midfield. And then once you've got someone like Vardy and Iniacho running, Vardy's doing all the doggy work at the moment. I know he hasn't scored. I think it's 8 or 9 games now, but he does all the doggy work. And Iniacho at the moment is getting the benefits of that. He's getting the tap-ins, he's getting the far post, knock-ins, he's getting the headers, he's getting everything. He's in a real purple patch, and Leicester now feel very, very confident going into that semi-final against a team that they beat 9-0 last year. They'll feel very, very confident. Put it this way, whoever won that game would have been playing Southampton. Both of them had beaten them 9-0 in the last 2 seasons. Yeah. So Southampton must have been okay. That's interesting. But again, impressed by Leicester, because players missing again, and they just have that way of playing. And
they all believe in what they're doing, don't they? Brendan Rodgers, whatever people have said about him in the past, he's a good coach, and he's got his identity, what he does with the football team, and he is a front foot manager. And he's got good players there. They've bought Leicester really well. They've bought really well, and they've sold good players every year. You can't see and Drinkwater, and they've moved through Maguire, Ben Chilwell. So they've had to sell players, and they just kept moving forward. So really good recruitment, good manager that plays on the front foot, good players. So that's why they're in the semi. But what I would say is, they're obviously the heavy favourites, and they should be where they are, but Semi-final, Southampton, they've got Danny Ings who can get a goal from nowhere. Che Adams is someone who's really improved of late. Nathan Redmond, like I said, can cause issues.
Well, let's be honest, they'd fancy that game rather than the other semi-final with obviously Chelsea and Man City. They'd rather them, so...
Stay in the game and get a free kick and let Ward-Prowse go one in.
I mean, Manchester United, obviously, in going out in another cup competition, I know they're still in the Europa League, but to satisfy... I mean, Man United should finish second in the Premier League, but do you think Solskjaer has to win that Europa League to satisfy the owners at Manchester United, or has he still got time on his side? Because obviously it's a one of the biggest clubs in the world, if not the biggest club in the world in the eyes of a lot of people. Do you think that can continue where, they went out in the semi-final of the League Cup to Manchester City, they've gone out in the quarter-final to Leicester, okay, they are in the Europa League, they're not going to win the Premier League. Do you think that can continue?
They've got Granada, haven't they, in the Europa League?
They went out the Champions League, of course, as well.
Went out the Champions League. They've got Granada in the Europa League, which I think they'll be quite pleased with, but Granada will be tricky. The second in the Premier League, and they ought to, got a good chance of finishing runners-up, if that means anything. I think he will have to win something, because Jose Mourinho finished runners-up and won the League Cup and won the Europa League with Manchester United, and then was sacked 4 or 5 months later. Now, okay, he hasn't got the gravitas that, the money in the bank that Solskjaer's got, being an ex-United player and all that. But at some stage, the people who are running the football club will look and go, well, okay, yeah, we're second, but we're not really catching Manchester City at the moment because they're quite far ahead. We're not winning domestic trophies, which we think we should be doing. So, yeah, I mean, maybe he's under a bit of pressure. I think for him, if he could win the Europa League, I think it'd be huge for him, because he will then become a winner. At the moment, he's a Manchester United manager that, as some people feel, he's only been given it because he was ex-United. He didn't do anything at Cardiff, did he?
No.
Mould is a different thing altogether. So for him, I think if he could win the Europa League, then that would make him a winner. Once you become a winner, people's perception changes and everything else. It makes it easier for you to do what you're doing. But United might look at him and go, no, he's our long-term manager and we're going to grow with him. He's only been at the club for, 18 months or whatever it is, or a bit longer maybe. So we're going to back him and see what we do with him. But at some stage, he will have to put a pot on the outside.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it was for them, getting beat 3-1 at Leicester.
What was mad about it was, I think they were quite comfortable at 1-1. And then they give that goal away to go 2-1, and then after that, I know they had opportunities, but they just, Leicester looked more likely to get the third than United did the equaliser.
Obviously, Manchester City dispatched Everton, and well, we know all about that. But one of the players that impressed you was Phil Foden.
Yeah, I thought Foden was absolutely unbelievable, to be honest. I think this season, he's always been a talented footballer. He's always been one you look at and go, oh, he looks... But it's whether they can start consistently putting it together. But this is a kid that's come through the ranks at City. He's 20 years of age. He's forced his way into one of the best teams the Premier League probably ever seen over the period of time Pep Guardiola's had it. And now you just look at him and think, wow. They were looking at... And I remember when David Silva, there was, a year left and he's retired, and people going, oh, maybe Foden can do that. And people were like, not sure, but I'll tell you what.
I think Pep's always been sure.
Yeah, well, I think Pep has, yeah. I think there was talk about Foden going on loan. I think actually Everton had made an inquiry about taking him on loan the season before last. Certainly for half a season, and they wanted to keep him to develop and training every day. And I just thought he was brilliant the other day. He's got everything cut in.
Yeah, he's just fantastic. But with England coming up, the internationals now coming up this weekend, England got 3 games.
3 games.
A lot of question marks about who is going to be, that playmaker for England. Because there's a couple of candidates in there.
Well, they're looking ahead to the Euros as well, aren't
exactly.
they? So
but this is where players have got to make the mark, haven't they? The lads over at Hold the L have been discussing this. Let's just hear what they've got to say.
Statistically, Mason Mount is the weakest link out of the 4. And that's statistics throughout the course of this season. If I run off some of the statistics this season alone, but the stats do support that.
I need to hear this.
An attacking midfielder, an attacking midfielder, well, first and foremost, an attacking midfielder is judged by the chances they create and everything else. He has less chances created than all of the players that we're mentioning. He has less assists than all of the players that we're mentioning. He has less goals than all of the players that we are mentioning. He has played more minutes than every single player we are mentioning, and his statistics are worse.
Yeah, the DT talking about Mason Mount there. That's part of a bigger conversation. If you want to, go and watch the whole video. The link is in the description. He talk about Mason Mount. Well, a few of the players there, obviously Phil Foden was one, and he's discussed as well. I think Steve, who was on Toffee TV last week, esteemed companies there, they talk about James Maddison and Jack Grealish. But what DT is saying there is actually correct. If they're they're kind of like the four playmakers that people have put forward for England: Mount, Grealish, Maddison and Foden. And DT's right when you look at the numbers. Mason Mount, 36 games this season, scored 6 goals and got 5 assists. Not bad. But he's played the most minutes out of the 4, 2,997 minutes. James Maddison's got played 32 games, 11 goals and 10 assists. Excellent. 2,166 minutes. Phil Foden, 37 games, 11 goals, 9 assists. He's played 2,523 minutes. And then Jack Grealish has played the least, which is 23 games. He's got 7 goals but 12 assists, and he's played the least minutes, 2,068. But for me, Foden, out of those 4, is the one. Grealish, quite clearly, is a chief creator. Yeah. And he's that. I think where Jack Grealish has gone up a level this season to be fair, he did this last season, one of the main reasons Villa stayed up. But he's now someone who's like a talisman for Villa.
You've seen that with the results.
So you give him the ball when he's playing, he's the chief and creator. And I think he's topping when you look at everywhere, carrying the ball.
You've seen that with the results. So, with Villa being out, with him not being in the Villa side, Villa have been
not done as well, have they?
Woeful. And I think he's back after the international break, as is Maddison, who's been out for Leicester as well. Both of them, I think, should be available after the international break. So this may be an opportunity for Phil Foden in the next few games to take that medal. For me, I think it's an interesting one. Mason Mount, I know Southgate likes him, but I think he's the classic thing that England have had for years of a player who can do bits and pieces, but it's not enough. Like, do you know what I mean? Like other countries take people like Jack Grealish or Phil Foden and they build a team around them. Now, Phil Foden, so it's whatever, it depends which one Maddison's in and around that. He's a good player, but I don't think he's good enough that you could build a team around.
No.
Grealish and Foden, I think, are. I think Grealish is, Grealish can play off the left and come inside. I think you have to set your team up to allow him to play. And that's maybe where someone like Southgate might be like, oh no, we're all in this together kind of thing, which I just think's nonsense, because this is why other countries, I think, win stuff. Like, no one ever said to France, or, oh, Zidane, you're going to have to track back, mate. When they were winning, when he was leading them to a World Cup. But it's that weird thing, because Jack Grealish is 26, 27. Euros, World Cup next year, isn't it? Jesus Christ. Next year's the World Cup. So you've got 2 big tournaments coming up in his peak. So you could say, right, you're our talisman for this one. Foden's your backup. Because I think that's what you've got to do. You can't go, I'm going to fit all 4 of them and the team won't work.
No.
And I don't think Mount does enough, and I don't think Maddison does enough. And I think it could be like, Grealish, these are your 2 tournaments. And then Phil Foden will still be like 22, 23 after that World Cup in Qatar. And then he takes the mantle on then. And it's, to me,
do you not think there's a way they could both play in the same England team?
See, but this is the problem though, isn't it? It's like, if you're building a team around somebody, I think you could build a team around Grealish and have Foden in the team. I'm not sure you could build a team around Foden and have Grealish in the team, if that makes sense. That what I mean by that is, I think with Grealish, you have to have that little bit of defensive structure to allow him to just do what he wants. But by doing what he wants, I think he opens the pitch up for everybody. Whether that's him playing off a strike. I think I've seen him in one of the England games playing off Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and I think it really worked. Now, I'm not saying, listen, Harry Kane's the England number 9, or what, I appreciate that. He's a much better all-round striker by a mile. Now, the problem with that is when he plays, he likes to drop into that number 10 role.
Yeah.
So then
so then Grealish plays off the left then?
Maybe. So I think Foden and Grealish could definitely play in the side, but I think, are you restricting Foden then?
I think, I look at Phil Foden, he can play right, left, and I also think he can play in the 10.
Yeah.
But for all of those, you see where I think Foden is different to Grealish. Grealish is very much travels with the ball, tricks and stuff like that. Not that Phil Foden can't, because he is brilliant like that, but I think Foden has also got that ability to pop one off from 30 yards, shift it and play it, and he's a link player in and they get it back, and he's got good, great feet, and he arrives in the box and scores goals. So I think one of them could play wide and the other one could play in the 10.
But then you are gonna have to change the structure of the team a little bit, and that's the point. It's like, I think it's more of a mindset thing. England, and this is not the first time. It's been going on for generations. I mean, you go back to the maddest thing about when Paul Gascoigne broke into the England team is that he broke into the England team. Do you know what I mean? It's like, for years, England had been stopping players like that from developing. And after Gascoigne, people had been stopping players from like that. Like Paul Scholes should have been the player that they built, that England team was built around. But what did they do? No, we'll stick it on the left because we want Lampard and we want Gerrard and we want Beckham and we want all that. Instead of going, no. What works for this team? Who's the best player? Who sees things? Who can open up the pitch? Who's that player who just has the vision at that level? Well, it was Paul Scholes. Gascoigne got in, and it was like everyone, because it was only a couple of months before the World Cup, wasn't it? 1990 when he got in, and he ended up owning that position. Unfortunately, it was only for one tournament. You have to have the bottle to do it. I don't know if Southgate's got the bottle, or he's more of we'll have Mason Mount in and we'll have up this other night.
Mason Mount's a good player. He's not somebody who's going to open games up. This is why England only ever get to He's a busy midfield player who's got a goal in him.
But this is why England only ever get to quarterfinals or semi-finals. They don't have that one player. I mean, look at last time when they got to the semi-final in the Euros. Who was the player? It was Modric for Croatia. That was the difference. And England have to start having that player. Spain, when they won the 2 Euros in the World Cup, they had Xavi and Iniesta. So you can have 2, but they've got to be amazing. And then you build the team. I mean, all those Spain teams were incredible.
The World Cup semi England got to. Malta.
Sorry, the World Cup, yeah.
2018.
It felt like Euros.
No, you
Germany,
Germany
with the shame. It's that you've
got
to be able to elevate one of those players. And Foden's an interesting one because he was brilliant for the England under 17s, wasn't he? And led that team to a World Cup. He was very much the player who done that at that level. So he's already got that grounding, I think, of understanding what it takes to be that player. I don't know whether it's come too soon, but listen, he's playing in a Manchester City team. He's playing every week. He's an integral part now.
One trophy.
So just pass up. So you just go, you look at that other squad and go, shows your medals. Harry Kane, shows your medals, mate. There's mine. Where's yours?
That doesn't always translate, but he has won stuff, so he knows what it's like. And he's playing in that City team.
I don't know, I don't know. I think there's a lot of good players out there that don't have that experience.
No, I know. That's you need the winners in your team. It's just sometimes you can be in a team and, Harry Kane, you wouldn't say that.
No, but who's to say that it's that, if you have a team full of, you look at that list there. I mean, Jack Grealish hasn't won anything.
No.
Maddison hasn't won anything. Phil Foden's won something. And he can say to those other players, well, I've got experience of winning things. I was a part of winning things. I'm going to win things this season. Are you going to win things this season? That's the... you go into a Euros where you're trying to win something, you're taking a kid like Phil Foden.
Who's got the experience.
Who's going to be a Premier League winner this year and be an integral part of why they win the Premier League and could win 3 other trophies. That's a big... imagine Phil Foden
isn't it?
Goes into that Euros and he's won the league, and let's say he's won the Champions League.
You're on a high.
It's not only on a high.
And John Stones
that's
as well.
Experience, isn't it? That's
Stones as well.
Yeah.
Who's played his way back into it. So
that's experience.
It's interesting. It is interesting. But yeah, I think they're out of the list of 4 who the press keep throwing forward that these are the 4 playmaker types who the lads have been discussing there. It's Grealish or Foden. Mount's a busy player who gets goals. Maddison's a good footballer who scores goals as well, but they're a level below.
But the question mark is, could you have Mason Mount, Phil Foden and Jack Grealish in the midfield and at, like, say, one holding midfield, one typical holding midfield? Because as you just said there, Mason Mount's a busy player. Or are we opening up that door to the Lampard, Gerrard, Beckham?
But then you're changing again, aren't you? Because then the structure would be Harry Kane at the top. And then you'd be hoping your width to come from Foden and Grealish because they would be in the wide area, wouldn't you?
But wouldn't you have you'd have Sterling?
You'd have to have Sterling in as well, wouldn't you? So Raheem Sterling then, I guess, would have to play either as a striker off Harry Kane or if you played 4-1-4-1 and then you put...
But where does Jadon Sancho play?
No, listen, England have got Marcus Rashford. England have got lots of talent, and if he gets it right, England have got a chance of winning the Euros. Like we said before, we're not overly bothered about England, but it would be good, I think, for the country and for England to win it. If you're looking at that team and you're saying, well, if you can get a solid base, and then you've got players like Raheem Sterling, Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Jack Grealish, Phil Foden, there's more attacking talent there than in some of these countries that have won things.
That's what I'm saying. But I think that's why this position though is so key, because it is the player that opens the door in these games where the opposition don't want to come out and play. That you're gonna, and then when you get to the games where it's like the latter stage of the tournament, if England get there, it's who's going to be the difference maker. And as I said, when England played against Croatia, Modric was that difference maker, and I think that's where England for many years have never quite had that one player that opened the door, that took the responsibility as well. Took that responsibility, because other countries do that as well. Other countries pass over the responsibility and everyone else then knows their job. For England, too many times, it's like, it's that thing of passing the buck round where it should just be, it shouldn't just be on one player, but if you get that structure right, because I surely at the moment, Jack Grealish, I think he should have been by now England's like number 1 player in that position all season, right? Rather than Mason Mount. But we're coming into a pit. This is what's really weird, is we're coming into this last period of the season, 3 games now that he's not going to play in. And he goes into that World Cup, Euros. He goes into that Euros truly not knowing if he's got a place in this team. And that's what's weird.
If he's got a place in the squad.
I think he'll have a place in the
squad. Nobody should do, but it's the whole thing, isn't it? But he's at the age. I think the one, just to finish, I think the good thing about Grealish is because he has been the person they give the ball to and go help us, I think that helps you when you go to international football. Definitely. That you're the person who your club looks to. So it is going to be interesting.
You can watch the rest of that video over on Sky's Super 6 channel.
YouTube channel.
Yeah, YouTube
Link
channel.
Is in the description.
Link is in the description.
Give it a comment.
Get in the comments as well. Tell them who you think should be the number 1 player, who should be on the plane, all that good stuff. There's some Premier League games as well.
There was Friday night, Fulham 1, Leeds 2. Rafinha again with a big goal, because Fulham, they dug themselves out of it. Great wins at Everton, great win at Liverpool. Really give themselves an opportunity. Should have got a point against Spurs. Robbed with the Al handball. And then City beat them 3-0 and they've lost another home game to Leeds here. And they've
got to be very careful they don't lose that momentum. Because that now, I think they've got 9 games left, haven't they?
Yeah.
That at this stage of the season.
Oh no, they got 8 Fulham. 8. That was their game,
because they played this weekend. You've got to keep that momentum going. You've got to be winning.
The 2 points behind Newcastle.
Well, no, I know.
So if they'd have beat Leeds, they'd have been on the bottom 3.
You've got to be able to, at this stage of the season, win 1, draw 1, lose 1.
Yeah.
in a way.
Got to pick to keep the momentum.
You've got to
going.
keep the momentum up.
That was the Friday. They would have moved out the bottom three, and unfortunately they were beaten. And then on Saturday night, Brighton, who had been dragged into it, had Newcastle United and spanked them 3-0.
Well, they've won their last 2 games.
Yeah,
Brighton, haven't
one
they?
away at Southampton, and he beat Newcastle 3-0.
So I think they've just won the 2 games that
they probably
will
needed,
keep them out of...
Trossard, Welbeck and Maupay. You've got Lallana back after the COVID. He was out with COVID, and he's back as well now. And you're looking at that bottom now, Brighton are on 32. So they're not miles ahead, but they're 6 points on Fulham, but now they've got the game in hand.
Yeah, I think
so I think it's probably between Newcastle and Fulham now,
yeah,
and that's the last game of the season, which is going to be
ultimately
very interesting.
Brighton are out of it, and I think that Fulham have got to put themselves in a position where it does come to that last game of the season. Because I know it's only a couple of points, but it's still, you know, that's a lot when you're a team in the bottom 3, when you've only got the points they've got.
It feels like 2 points, 3 points is like,
no,
how are we gonna? No, but on one hand it's a win, but on the other hand it's, oh my, where are we gonna get this?
Well,
win
Newcastle
from?
will be the thing about it is, do you want to be the chaser or the chased? But Newcastle in an awful run.
They've got some bad games as well, Newcastle, like bad games.
Everyone's a bad game though when you're there.
Well, true, yeah.
They've had players out. I'm sure they'll get players back, but are they going to be up to it straight away? And it's just mad for a club that started the season with all the ambitions of buying Mbappe to where they are now. You know, all the Saudi Arabia stuff, all the flags in the people's Twitter profiles and everything. They were convinced it was going to happen.
Just shows you, doesn't it?
And now they're, you know, where they are, and you know, it's in a mess. And it's when you do look at it and think,
if they go,
but you think about it, it's like, are they in control? If Fulham, I mean, I know they are but Fulham, you know, put it together a half decent run. I think, you know, I know it's easy to say because Newcastle could put an half decent run, but I think if Fulham win 2 or 3 games, I think they could stay up, especially that last game of the season.
It's in the Newcastle Chronicle, I think it might have been, on Sunday. And the headline was, "This is what the end looks like." And that's what they were saying, because they're devoid of any confidence. I mean, God knows how to beat Everton. Twice. They're devoid of any confidence. They've got injuries. There's no fans there, so it's flat. And you're looking, when you're in them positions,
fighting.
You're looking, there's infighting, there's stuff going on as well at board level still. And when you're in that position, you need a spark from your fans to just get you those points. And when the fans aren't there, the minute you go behind in any game, it's, here we go again. Another defeat and another defeat. And especially if the team who you've had, don't forget, there was about 10 points, I think, between them and Fulham a while ago. And all of a sudden, Fulham, I think, won 3 games on the run or something, and there's 2 points now. Yeah. And you're looking and going, oh my God, you know, we lose another one, and they've got a game in hand, but it means nothing if you don't win your game in hand. So it's gonna, and especially because they've got them as well. All Fulham will be doing is saying, if I was Scott Parker, I'd just be saying, stay within a point of them. Let's stay within 1 or 2 points of these, so that when we play them, our fate is in our own hands on that day. And if we beat them, we stay up, and if we get beat, fair enough. And that's what that will be Fulham's chief goal. That's to chase them, and it's going to be dead interesting.
It is going to be dead interesting.
Sunday was
West Ham 3-0 up against Arsenal
after half an hour.
After half an hour, and you're thinking, oh, these are flying, these are pushing forward, trying to get that Champions League place. So that solidify. Yeah. 5th place. So that's what I was looking for. Yeah, 5th place. And then Arsenal just got that goal just before half time, and that was the little spark they needed.
2 own goals,
Little spark they needed, and went out second half and pulled it back to 3-3. And it was, in many ways, a classic Moyes performance. I think it was like 3-1 or 3-2. He brought a couple of defensive players on, and Antonio had a tap in and hit the post. To make 4-2. That would have wrapped the game up. And Arsenal have gone down the other end and got an equaliser, and then
both had chances to win it, didn't he?
Classic.
Yeah, I mean, we've
classic Moyes.
We've seen that from David Moyes many times, haven't we? A game where you're in control, and then you start sitting back and getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and then a goal goes in and then you're thinking, we know what's coming. We've seen it, man. And then the weird sub. We've seen it many times, haven't we? So they'll be kicking themselves because it was a big game.
Yeah.
It was an opportunity to put a bit of daylight between them and the likes of Everton and Liverpool and Tottenham. And they've let 3 goals in, and sometimes, and for Arsenal perspective, it's a tough one because you're 3-0 down thinking, I've seen lots of stuff, they're a disgrace, Arteta out. And then obviously 45 minutes later, it's 3-3 and it's like, okay, we've got a point, but we need to be beating them or whatever.
Yeah.
But you're better, in a 3-3 draw, you're better being the team that comes from 3-0 down than the team that blows it. So keeps Arsenal in the hunt for Europe keeps, obviously, for Everton, Liverpool, Tottenham, it's a great result. And for Chelsea as well, don't forget.
And then obviously Tottenham went to Villa Sunday night and got a good 2-0 win.
Yeah.
Puts them up into 6th place.
6th now, yeah.
But Harry Kane once again showing that the dark arts are very much alive in the English players. Because once again, he got a penalty out of absolutely nothing. And I again, listen, he's very, very good at it, what he does. But how the referees keep on falling for it is beyond me.
England captain.
VAR, how that can't see that he's clearly just fell over.
VAR.
It's just nonsense. Absolute nonsense. He does it all the time. He gets away with it all the time. No one in the media ever says anything either. It's always...
England captain.
Week before, he done a horrendous challenge on an Arsenal player, to think. No one said a word. No, you're right, England captain. No one said a word.
We've seen it when Alan Shearer was the England captain.
It's a disgrace.
He booted at Lennon in the face and it was just like... Oh, yeah.
He just gets away with it all the time, and it's a disgrace, and he'll continue getting away with it because no one ever says a word about it. And it's...
fantastic footballer.
Oh, he's an amazing footballer. And he does the things what you want your players to do.
Oh, God, if he's your player, you're absolutely made up with him.
But it's just mad. It's just mad that he continues to... Referees just are so bad that they don't understand the game.
We see it with the other fella across the park. It's stuff that you look at and go, that's never a penalty.
But he's so much cuter about it, though, Harry Kane, isn't he?
Oh, Kane is,
doesn't throw his arms in the air.
There's no platooning.
He just... Yeah. Very, very good.
He's very good.
A good win for Spurs.
Big win, Vinicius with a goal as well.
That's his first
Premier League.
And they are now obviously in the European places.
They're in the box seats.
And obviously they've just been beaten in the Europa League as well.
Well, no, there was all sorts going on there. Lloris fuming, there was him fighting the players, want Mourinho out.
Yeah.
And I believe they still want him out.
What about Bale coming out and saying, I'm going back, and also it's possibly at Wales because it's a break from being a club football?
Yeah, doesn't like it. Had a little flaw. In fact, to be fair to Gareth Bale, he's basically put them into the European positions because he scored some big goals over the last few games that got them them wins. Because they were, to me, a couple of weeks ago, they looked like they were going the other way.
Well,
he got those big. He got goals.
Wrong manager for him. Wrong manager. He needed a manager who was prepared to play him in most games. Well, that's it. Get him in hammers. Well, they can have half a season each.
Yeah. To be honest, he did need someone like Carlo Ancelotti who puts his arm around him, and maybe someone like Klopp who tells him he's amazing. With Mourinho, I think the problem with Jose Mourinho is, as good a manager as he is, I think he's got that thing of like tough love with him, and it's like he'll tell you, and you have to get on board with him. If you don't, like Dele Alli, you're very much.
But I think part of the problem is like, Mourinho strikes me as someone who'll punish you for being injured. Whereas someone like Carlo Ancelotti with James Rodriguez is like, I'll look after you so that you're as injured as little time as possible. And when you are available, we'll use you, but we'll know how to use you. Where Mourinho feels like, it's like, well, if you're injured, you can't play, but when you're back, I'm not going to play you either. Whereas...
like a cob on with him.
Yeah, because he's punishing for it. I don't quite get that, but...
I think things have just changed a little bit. Mourinho needs to bend a little bit with it.
Yeah. Also, Hart needs to check scores before
that was an interesting one, wasn't it?
Yeah, before he puts out messages saying...
Job done with a big tick.
3-0,
job done.
Sorry, I was asleep.
I
had a dream that we got through.
I forgot about that. I mean, what a kind of an answer. I had a dream we'd got through. That's me every Sunday when I wake up and think Everton have won.
God, have I put my dreams into tweets on Everton results? God,
Yeah, there
you go. Make sure you check out the Hold the L video. The link is in the description. You want to watch the full version. Make sure you check that out. Get in the comments as well. Get in the comments and give your opinion on those 4 players, or whatever the lads are talking about every week. You make sure you get in there and have your say. Link is in the description. Don't forget, make sure you subscribe to our The Footy Show channel as well, where we are dropping videos all the time, just little Footy Show shorts on what's going on in football, what we're seeing and what we're hearing, what we're liking, what we're disliking. There's a few on there at the moment. We've been doing them. So make sure you check them out. Please go and subscribe to that channel. We want to build that channel for all your other footy stories, footy news. Yeah, it's definitely worth a subscribe. It's definitely worth subscribing to them.
Easy
and
for
you
you
can
to say.
click the bell for alerts as well. We're not right hot in there. Please do all that as well. And give this video a like, and we'll see you later. Bye.